Hey guys, it's Chelsa Messenger with Picks and Parlays. We're talking NBA action, Trailblazers and Bulls. We've got a promo code. The code is SNOW for 20% off the entire site at picksandparlays.net. The Bulls are favored at home, -1.5. The total is 232, one of the higher totals on the board because both of these teams can score, but they also have really porous defenses. Portland 9-8 on the season, 7-10 against the number. Meanwhile, the Bulls are 7-10 straight up, but 11-6 against the spread. One of the better teams against the number this season that's made quite a bit of money for some people. We've got Craig Trapp joining us to break this one all down for us. Craig, what stands out to you about this matchup?
Well, the thing that really concerns me when you look at just the line, just looking at the line straight up, is that the Bulls are finally a favorite. We've made so much money betting the Bulls this season, but almost always they were, 8 to 10 point favorite, if not more, or 8 to 10 point underdog. Sorry. And yeah, they've covered a ton of games. But when you're only 7-10 straight up, that tells you they're not a great team overall. I mean, Zach LaVine's playing out of his mind. Don't get me wrong. He's as good as any guard in the NBA right now. That's how good he's playing. It's too bad he's not on a big market team that's playing better, because I'm guessing you'd be hearing about him a lot more. So to me, that initially just looks like the wrong side. So that's why I'm leaning towards Portland in this one, because the Portland team, they've been favored a lot. So yeah, they're just 9-8, like you said, and that means they don't cover a lot because they played a lot of close games. So I do think this game will be close. Portland has been good on the road, 5-2 against the spread on the road, including nearly beating a good Houston team that I think Houston's going to end up being really good. And Portland, they're without McCollum right now. So obviously Dame company has to really pick it up, but Damian Lillard's good enough to do so. I think it's going to be a great matchup between these two. Like you said, I think it'll be a lot of points. My best play is going to be on Portland Trailblazers in this one, plus the 1.5. I think Portland wins outright in a close game, but I wouldn't talk anybody off the over here, Chelsea, as I think both of these teams on any given night can give up 130. That's how bad the defenses have been in these two.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like the only time the Bulls have been favored in their last 10, they lost outright, and that was to Oklahoma City, 127-125. And when we're looking at tight spreads, all of those games have gone way over, it looks like. When the spread's 3 or less, all of those totals have been astronomical when it comes to the Bulls. So sometimes that's something to look at when you've got a high total, but a spread. It means that there's going to be a lot of back and forth, and obviously not a blowout they're expecting. So I think the over is worth a look here as well. I know 232 is pretty high, but that's just how it's been for both of these teams. Any other things you think bettors should look at before placing a wager?
Well, I think, a lot of times you get these close games, especially when you look, and it's COVID year, that you got guys that are out at the last minute or questionable, out because they're, close proximity to somebody else that tested positive. So you really need to look at the benches. And I do think Portland has a better bench. So in a close matchup where we already know McCollum is not going to be in this one, that you have to look at the better bench. Portland's the better bench. That's what I do think will be the difference, other than, of course, Damian Lillard, that Portland gets this outright win.
Right. I mean, Portland's been playing with depth off the bench all season long because they've had so many injuries, kind of like last year, because they haven't had Nurkic or Collins and also McCollum. So a lot of their scoring and productivity has had to come off the bench or just from Damian Lillard, which is a heavy burden to bear. But if anybody can do it, it's Damian Lillard. That's going to wrap it up for our NBA talk here on Picks and Parlays. Great stuff from Craig Trapp. As always, Craig, thanks for joining us.